Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler Head, Wes Mitchell, and Chris Clark along with you. We'll have full coverage for you of the spring game coming up tomorrow night here on the game immediately following Carolina baseball. We'll jump right in the pregame, and then the game starts. I say kickoff. There's not going to be a kickoff. Game starts at 7 o'clock. Chris Miller going to be on the call for play-by-play. Cherry
There could be a kickoff, Tyler.
There could be a kickoff. Okay, most spring games don't have kickoffs. I
don't think he returned. Don't they do the...
It's like a formal thing.
Let's go ahead. Can we do a PSA?
You can do whatever you want.
All right,
y'all, your show.
Y'all. So if there is a kickoff and a player catches the kickoff and begins to run said kickoff, he will run far, like he'll get past the 50. It is not going to be a touchdown in the game. So, I mean, you can cheer if you want for the effort, but it will not be a touchdown. PSA.
See,
they don't typically go live. If you see people trying really hard and stuff like that, then okay.
It should be like an Oklahoma drill where whoever's kicking it off kicks the returner, and then he has to stop him from scoring the touchdown. One-on-one.
Like using the whole field?
Using the whole field.
He has no chance. Zero.
Fourth shot.
One-on-one.
One-on-one.
No.
Chris just destroyed your idea.
We're trying to make the spring game fun here, Chris.
Sorry, Alex Herrera and Joyce and all you guys.
Man, some of these kickers,
even Kai Kroger.
Some of these kickers can lay the wood, man. You never know, and I think that would be the perfect opportunity to see him try it.
He has to have like his other 10 teammates at least force the guy to a sideline or something.
Okay, well, Chris is just killing my dreams this morning.
Unless you're our guy Mitch Jeter now at Notre Dame, one-on-one tackles. Forcing fumbles, things like that.
That's the thing. You never know until they get out there and do it. Yeah, I think an Oklahoma kickoff drill would be perfect.
But I got to sway off
Chris
track.
doesn't like to have fun.
But nonetheless, well, yeah, that was kind of a buzzkill, wasn't it? Like,
well,
if you
we're trying to entertain the people here, Chris.
let's move it back.
Okay.
Tracks are over here. Chris, right. you even teased, you even set up what we're talking about.
Yeah. But Tyler mentioned the kickoffs that got me all off kilter. But yeah, so what we're going to do, let's pay it off.
This is a train wreck. It's okay.
Let's pay it off. One player that you're looking forward to seeing the most in the spring game.
I want Tyler to go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll go with Demetrius Knight.
Oh, okay.
I did not anticipate
Tyler's
that.
thought about this,
yeah,
I think.
I've been very intrigued by the tape that I saw. Obviously, played at Georgia Tech, went over to UNC Charlotte. Mm-hmm. All AAC guy a season ago, all over the field. Seems to be that sideline-to-sideline type of guy. I'm interested to see what he's going to be able to do.
It's a good one.
It's a great one. So we're going to enact the you can't say Lenora Sellers rule, which is a graduate from the you can't say Spencer Rattler rule. And basically that's like the obvious. I think if you polled the fans on Twitter, 80% would probably say Lenora Sellers. So
yeah,
Lenora Sellers would be my answer. But you can't say Lenora Sellers. I'm going Jared Brown.
Good one.
Because I'm intrigued because I feel like we've heard a little bit more about Gage Larverdane, and we've obviously heard quite a bit about Mazeo Bennett. But then the fact that in both scrimmages, Jared Brown got a mention. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, and Beamer has talked about, hey, some guys are gamers, some guys take it to another level when the lights are on, some guys play a little bit better when there's fans in the stands. I'm interested to see what Jared Brown does, and looking at what he did at Coastal, this guy's definitely a playmaker. So I think against what probably some base defenses here and there, I think this could be a chance for him to make some plays.
Yeah, this year it's really hard, especially in the transfer portal era. As many guys as South Carolina has brought in from the portal and some impact freshmen potentially, I would say, it's hard to narrow it down to just one guy. I'm going to say Dylan Stewart because, he's been a guy that the past two scrimmages over the last couple weekends, we've heard just universally both of those weekends, like, he looks really good again. And so I want to get a look at him in that scrimmage setting when he's going to be allowed to rush the passer and show his movement abilities. He's one I'd pick out. My backup would be Gage Larverdane. Like, I'm with you on Jared Brown as well, But Gage is a guy that I think he started making some noise pretty much as soon as he got here as well. So, and receivers, obviously one of those question mark positions. But Dylan Stewart, just because of how much we've heard as of late.
You got a backup, Tyler?
I do, and I think it's interesting that you guys bring up two receivers there, and what you were mentioning, because one guy that we haven't heard a whole lot about, I feel like through the spring so far, is Amari Huggins Bruce, transferring over from Louisville. And again, that was a guy that came in with Larverdane, came in with Jared Brown, all kind of similar type of play styles, but he's somebody that hasn't been discussed as much from what you guys have seen at practice, and as well as coaches talking about the receiver position and their media availabilities. And I don't know what the reason for that would be, but is he that far behind these other guys? Is he not being looked at as a potential starter? Like, what does he bring to the table, and how does he potentially perform tomorrow night? I think would be intriguing to see.
Yeah, and I don't want to speculate, but I'm wondering if he could be one of those guys that's been a little bit dinged up at times, because I think otherwise we would have definitely heard something about him, because he clearly is in the conversation to be in that a starter, and definitely I would think in that rotation this year, obviously depending on who comes in and who else they add from the portal during this current window. So I think that's I think it's a good question, Tyler, and we'll see what he can do tomorrow.
Well, and I will say, since this is in the public domain, the last scrimmage a week from tomorrow,
so Saturday
on the 13th, yeah, AHB was not dressed out for that via a public domain picture from Mike Fury on Twitter with the wide receiver group. So I think what you're saying is on point.
Banged up, dinged up. Hopefully he can play tomorrow and go do some things. My backup, Jawarn Howell.
Like that one too.
Because I continue to think, obviously, we know or think we know what Rocket's going to be, especially if he can get back to what he was, 2 seasons ago. And then I think Attaway, it'd be fun to see him, but I just think the young guy, still a little bit raw, but lots of upside, was phenomenal at SC State. It was obvious that, he could play at the SEC or ACC level, and he's got, obviously, some years of eligibility ahead of him, so there's going to potentially be some time for him to grow and get better. But I just can't shake the feeling that there's always guys banged up at running back. That always happens throughout the course of a long SEC season. Howell may not be on your 2 deep day one of the season, but I think at some point this season they are going to have to rely on this kid, and I think he's going to be ready from what I've heard, but I'm interested to see him out there in a full-blown scrimmage setting with tackling and that step up from the level he was at to here. How does his running style, how does his skill set translate to that? I think will be fun to see.
And I don't want to do that thing where we did name our one player, so I don't want to do that thing where, let's just name everybody.
That's what he's about to do.
The whole roster.
But no, I'm not going to name the whole roster. But I kind of feel the same about Braswell. He's gotten a little bit lost in the shuffle at times because you got the shiny new object,
the new toy syndrome.
Yeah, the new toys. You got Rocket is on the shelf right now, but we knew that. But Jawarn Howell, Oscar Attaway, but Braswell's still in there too. He's still one of the fastest guys on the team, and he played a little bit last year and did some good things. So I figure he, as long as he's healthy going into this game, will probably get an ample amount of opportunities as well. And he's still a younger guy, like Howell. He's a younger guy. Oscar Attaway's played a ton of football in college, not in the system, but interested to see Braswell too.
And obviously, you'd love for Rocket Sanders to be healthy right now, where he could go out there and play tomorrow night. But we know what we have in him when he gets back to full health, given the fact that he's proven it in the SEC already. But him not being able to go out there and get reps right now, that opens the door for more reps for Braswell, for more reps for Jawarn Howell and Oscar Attaway as well, who again is taking a step up in competition level, going from playing at North Texas to playing at South Carolina. So again, you hate to see somebody still be injured, but it does provide a benefit on the back end of these other guys being able to split those reps that he would have been getting through the spring.
Yeah, when Rocket spoke earlier this week, he seemed genuinely, I would say, to feel pretty good about his progress. Like, kind of basically said he was ahead of where he thought he was going to be, which I thought was a phenomenal sign. Didn't really sound like just almost like coach speak. It sounded kind of, generally like he was a little bit surprised at how far along he was, which is great for them. But I'll be curious to see tomorrow, does Attaway get put into the this guy's played so much category? We're going to get him 2 drives, and then it's going to be the other guys. I think it sets up, particularly in that kind of middle, just bulk of the game section. So before we've turned into fourth quarter, let's get the walk-on some run category. Who's out there the most? That's where I think it sets up for probably Chris's guy, DJ, and for Jawarn to get out there and just carry the rock a ton. So I think that's to me what you're looking for if you're trying to like predict a spring game MVP is the guys that are high enough on the depth chart that they are going to be like out there when the other top guys are out there, but are young enough and not quite established enough that they're going to get to play a lot.
We'll hear from the coordinators what they had to say to the media yesterday ahead of tomorrow's spring game. Coming up is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Rolls along on your Friday here on The Game.